how to survive the high season, some coping skills. I started the company in 2003. While I was in business school. It was a happy accident, and I've just been in love with this industry since then. I am an INTJ, for those of you who have taken the Breyers Meg. People think I'm an extrovert. I'm really not. I'm super shy. I'm culturally confused. I grew up in the States. I have lived here now 20 years, and I still think and dream in English, and have a hard time sometimes finding my Swedish words. I'm obsessed with my dog. I'm a mother of 3, which helps in this business when we have a lot of families coming in, the different ages. And last but not least, I'm a functioning sick person. I like to share that just because I 10 years ago got a diagnosis and they said, you'll probably be in a wheelchair in 5 years. I'm not. But that's when we created this digital project, because we needed to switch the company to be a digital product before we just showed houses. We were like Estate and all the other companies. And I needed to figure out how to kind of tailor this to my new reality. And it turns out we were also completely prepared for the pandemic because we were 100% digital. So that's why you guys haven't seen me, and I can't do it anymore for physical reasons and showing our properties. And I envy you guys who are out there doing this, because it's so inspiring to be part of like people's journeys and adventures. So that's a little bit about me, just to give you a background. We hope that this is your tool and secret weapon. All of our properties on Residensportalen, we have checked ownership. We have also maybe disactivated ads from landlords that we know are trouble. Even on the basic and plus side, we don't want the trouble landlords that are not nice to tenants to float within our system, because that gives you guys bad will. It never ends well, and it's not worth the money, frankly. So we like to profile our service as quality, not quantity. And we try to really clean our database so that you guys don't need to call like 10 landlords and just, oh no, sorry, we rented out a month ago. So that's number one. We also hope that the tool will save you time. If you use the tool like we designed it, you can actually make it like a digital assistant. You can even set up alerts directly for your clients, or ask them to do it, accept the GDPR, then ask for, their logins and go in and like tweak their searches. Especially if you have that client that maybe likes to be really hands-on. And we notice that's definitely the case with younger assignees. They want to feel part of the process, and you can do that. And I'm going to show you how. And last but not least, there's nothing worse with, having clients that can't see a property because you can't access it, or having to explain that, well, that's a scraper site. They only really, those ads aren't real. If they find our ads and they send it to you, you guys can show them. We have 3 different types of properties. The basic properties are those that haven't paid for any services. You always contact them directly. The plus properties are those that may have bought a service, or they just want to be ranked higher. And so they have the little plus sign. And then we have the premium properties where you meet Hanna Maria, where we handle everything from, scheduling of showings, the contract, the inspection. And in Swedish, we have an expression saying, man kommer till dukat bord. You come to a set table. And that's basically what you guys do with the premium properties. So if you have a really heavy workload and you want to save a lot of time, those are the properties to get. And those landlords are also not only vetted like we do with all of them, but super vetted. So when you contact the basic and the pluses and we're not involved, here's when you can really go in and have the system used for you. To use the settings in your profile, I'm going to show you I made a pretend one for myself, and I'm going to show you how you can utilize it to be able to send like 50 chats, just boom, 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 boom for different clients and save time. I would send a chat firstly. If that doesn't get you the response, is to follow up with a text or an email. And if you do get a landlord that says it's been rented and you have the time, just send us the ID number in the subject line and put rented. And then that saves all of us time because you've let us know. And we'll remove that ad so somebody else doesn't click on it. So here comes in the assistant. Most of the time, as a relo agent, you have these recurring searches, like you're always looking for a 1-bedroom in Stockholm city center. So save a generic alert for that so you don't miss anything that comes in. And if we take I don't know if you can see my cursor, but here, skapa bevakning, if you're on the Swedish site, if you search for something like Gothenburg, and you know that this is where I work a lot, I want to never miss a property there, skapa bevakning, and then boom, you can put in Gothenburg generic. And then every time we get something in Gothenburg, you get an email and an alert. Then you can, of course, save specific ones. So let's say that you have a Scania client, they're really specific of what they want. Once you go in and search for that once, save it, and then just, you can name it whatever, pain in the ass Scania, and then you'll never miss anything that comes in. And keep it simple. Put in like the area, furnishing, and max rent, and then skip the rest. Like don't put in the dates or the pets. Just keep it loosey-goosey to kind of get a sense, and then you can winnow it down. Other helpful hints, we have street view, if you want to kind of get a sense of the area. We also have similar properties, which is at the bottom of the page, and I'll show it when we go through the demo. And we also have an average rental price in Sweden. And between us, it's generally higher than the reality, because that's what it aggregates all of our data of listed pricings. So it doesn't take into account what they actually go for. But if you have a client that refuses to accept that, you know what, you're not going to find a 2-bedroom for 12,000 on Östermalm, you can use that to kind of send them the link and say, here are your averages, so that you don't have to go, you know, it's a third party telling them the same information you've been saying till you're blue in the face, but here it is, here's the data. And I'll show you what that looks like. So here, for instance, if you want to calculate the average rent, so let's do Östermalm. And I want to know what a 3-room average is. And it's mostly a tool for you guys to use to kind of teach your client. You know, you have the stubborn ones. This is what it looks like. This is reality. This is a data aggregation. It's not just what I'm telling you. I'm not making it up. And that's fresh data. So while we're in here, okay, so now I'm logged in, and under my pages, I also recommend adding your picture or connecting to your Facebook, because it does make a difference to get that personal face. When you're contacting the landlords, they like to see that there's a human behind it. If you go to settings and you scroll down, this is what I have as a generic that you can change. Like, okay, most of this you're not going to change. So let's say that, okay, now you're searching for Scania. You just change this. You know, the information that they are interested to know. So now that I've saved this and I want to go and contact a landlord, Guess what? It's already populated in your chat. You can even go in here and change if you want to change any of the parameters, but this saves you a lot of time because then you can just fire off these chats without having to reinvent the wheel every time, and then just change the company or whatever details that you need. Okay, let's say that now we're going to go through saving this. Okay, I want to know what comes in on Östermalm all the time. You can name it whatever you want. And under email alerts, now I have that here. So I don't need to go in and reinvent the wheel every time I do a search, or every time. I know some people go in and they're looking for a client and they go in and look every day. You don't need to do that. You just save this, and then it is your digital assistant and will send you an email once something new comes in. I probably don't have any chats because I don't chat with anyone. Go into if you're in the chat and you see on your left-hand side, you can choose if you want to hide that message. Like, let's say you're done with a client, you can hide that message so you don't see it anymore, but then you can unhide it if you want to refer to it later. So yeah, all those are there. Oh, that's the other thing, is that if you make a deal with like a basic or plus property that hasn't bought the lease, we love it if you guys say like, oh, are you going to buy the lease from Residensportalen? Because then you have somebody representing you. And that way we also get a sale, and you will be dealing with us and not the landlord. So then we will write the lease and you guys can move on to your next client and then just get everything served, like the dukat bord. So if you guys are working in our tool and you're like, oh my God, I would love to have this, write them down, send them to me. And we are always in development. So we are working on improving our tools every day. We also have AI plugged in on our website to see themes and to be able to be proactive, so that if we see that there are searches for things that we're not providing, then we need to get on that. So if there are things that, you know, like I know when I work in different systems like Slack or other tools, I'm like, God, I wish I could send them and tell them I would like this feature, because you guys are the best to know that because you're working in it. I'm not. I'm just coding. Okay, so here we have, in terms of the good presentation, we see this a lot because you're stressed, you're handling those like 60 cases. So you shoot off the email like, hey, jag vill titta på din lägenhet. Guess what? You're not going to get the responses because these landlords, even though they're not inundated like Blocket with us, at least they want more. They want to know like, okay, is the company going to sign? How many kids do they have? So that's when you use that chat to do the work for you. So this would be an example of like a good presentation. And you will have it back so many times by adding a little bit more information. Most do not get a response. It will be left, you will be left on red, which is what I've heard the young people call getting ghosted these days. Okay, I just wanted to share some of my tips when I did work in the field and I was like you guys, overworked, underfed. You know, I would eat in my car. And this is what I would say are the most important things to just cut down the time wasters, is get all the right information before the showings. I know that some relos find it really annoying that when we send our questions, and it's just because we know you guys sometimes are so stressed that you could have looked at that ad 5 times, but hey, it's furnished and you're looking for unfurnished. We've been out with relos for an entire day looking at the wrong type of properties because too much going on. So always get all the information, even if it will take you more time in the beginning, you will have it back in the end. Same thing with like who will sign the lease. There's nothing worse for you guys and for us. You get all the way through the process And then last minute, they're like, oh shit, they don't sign the lease. Sometimes we can pull that out and fix it. But sometimes the landlord will even get so mad at us and be like, you know what? This doesn't feel serious. Like, we're going to go with the other party. While if you guys knew from the beginning, we probably could have sold it in. But it's like all things in life. Like when people get surprised, sometimes they have a knee-jerk reaction instead of just, they could have been chill. And this is our favorite. Where is Waldo? Do you guys know? Am I aging myself by saying where's Waldo? Find Waldo around the world. Where is the firmatecknare? A lot of companies do not think about this, so we have to think about it, and you guys have to think about it. Everybody that can sign for the company goes on vacation at the same time. Atlas Copco was famous for doing this. It's like amazing to me that they're this huge company, while every summer they would be like, all right, see you in August, and then nobody could sign anything. And have you checked that firmatecknare is authorized? That's another one we often come up against, is that HR says, well, this person always signs. Well, that's great, but this person that has always been signing hasn't been authorized all this time, which means that you have a lot of, leases that are not legally binding. So a great way to find this out is to check Alla bolag. Allabolag.se under firmatecknare has all the people that are authorized, if they can sign by themselves, if they need to sign with someone else, and also check the power of attorney. Is it on letterhead? Does it have the org number? Because sometimes legal can just like send out like really incomplete power of attorneys. And I've always said this to everybody that's worked here. Remember, we're not triaging sick infants. Every time I myself have felt like I can't breathe, or I'm like forgetting to breathe because I'm so stressed, I just remember and I tell myself, no one is gonna die because of a mistake I make today. Like, this is really just, people are going through a really stressful time in their life because they're moving, and that's hard. And sometimes they take it out on us, but we're not taking care of sick infants. And ask for help. You can always shoot an email. I'm usually available mostly on email. So if you have like a rental law question or something that you haven't come up against before, just send an email. Chances are it's happened to me. And then last but not least, it's all about the expectations. At this showing today, I like to tell the expats, like pretty much when they walk in the door, and just say, listen, in Sweden, we don't paint before you're going to move in. You are not going to be able to put down a 20-point negotiation list. This is our market. This is how it works. We're going to get you through it, but this is what you can expect. Because then generally they are pretty chill. It's when they think that they've been surprised or had that they get squirrely and make our life hard. So that is what I think I had today. Other good resources. We have 2 sections on our website, and I'm gonna go back to that and show you. Let's see. Under information for tenants, we have a ton of good articles that you can use to send to your client if you want to validate your own argument to them. This is one of my favorites. Generally, these have been written when I've been really frustrated at work one day. So, in so many words, we also write like, don't be an ass. If you're an ass and you walk through a showing and you're nice to no one, including your own agent, you're probably not going to be recommended to the landlord. I don't know. So little things like that are in these different sections that you guys can give to your clients as well. And here we have Swedish rental law. Also in English, in case you need to send to a client, if they ask, you know, why can't I do this, or why won't you get this in the lease? You have a lot of information here.